Welcome to Prime Time. We'll be talking all sports leading to the weekend. First order of business, Nick.
NRL Week 1.
Round 1 is kicking off Thursday night. And something that everyone's been talking about over the last week across social media is the Sydney Roosters. How are they staying under the cap? It's a talk over the last few years, the salary sombrero, but they've just made a couple new signings for 2024. I don't know how they're still able to do that.
Well, that's the thing. They don't do themselves any help. They signed the biggest names in the game. I believe they do keep it under the cap because they do have a high turnover of players. But Dom Young, Brandon Smith, they're just rumoured to sign Spencer Lianu. They got Matt Lodge last year as well. It's like, how do they afford everyone?
And it's not even that. It's why are players foregoing bigger sums of money to play elsewhere, like the Dragons or the Dolphins, to go play at the Roosters for less money?
Well, example, Brandon Smith.
Yeah.
He's $1 million player. If the Bulldogs or the Titans wanted a hooker, I mean, Bulldogs got Reid Money.
Yeah.
We're happy with him. But Gold Coast Titans could have easily given him $1 million, but he's only reported to be on about 700 at the Roosters.
Well, Braithen Astor last night put out an estimated earnings of each player and what they're on and how they come under the cap. And he cited that the reason why they want to go to the Roosters is not because of the money that they can make. Yes, they want to win premierships, but it's because of the relationships they build in the Roosters, the networking opportunities they have that set themselves up for when they retire from rugby league.
I mean, we've spoken to Mark Burris. He's a very wealthy, affluent person.
Yeah.
If you could have him as a contact, I'd probably sign there as well.
I'd sign there as well. So it's not, you don't just have to worry about, getting a car or a boat. It's how you're going to be making money after your career.
It's the third-party deals. That's what I think people forget about. You're getting $700,000 as your salary, but then you're probably getting $1 million third-party deals.
Yeah, but does the NRL have to start coming down on that so there can be some equitable talent across the clubs?
No.
Because how do you police someone getting benefits after their career is done?
Yeah, but that's like saying, you sign with Manly, you get to live on the beach, but if you sign in Penrith, you got to live out in Penrith. That's just what comes with the area.
The Roosters have got something working for them.
But then you bring up as well, Dom Young doesn't come till next year. Daniel Tupou will probably leave.
What is everyone thinking about the 2024 signing a year in advance?
I hate it.
In the NBA, they don't do it. NFL, you can't do it. It's like another thing everyone was talking about when Dom Young signed was, should the Newcastle Knights let him go now?
Well, the thing is, it's you either have a free agency at the end of the season, like the NBA, NFL, or you put a trade deadline as well in. So if they do sign a year ahead, at least you can get something in return.
Because Andrew Voss came out and absolutely sprayed the Roosters for even asking
Bossy.
about Dom Young going to the Roosters. But if you're Newcastle, why would you waste a year of developing a talent that you could put on the wing? If he wants to go, I'll just let him go now. He's made his decision. That's business.
I think the only reason you wouldn't want to let him go is they don't want to get the spoon. If they want to make the 8 as well, he's one of the best wingers in the comp. Dom Young is tall. He's probably going to score at least 20 tries this year, judging by his World Cup performance. The Roosters, why would you help them out? They're already taking a player. Why give him a year early for nothing?
Anyway, is there anyone else that wants to sign at the Roosters that's coming off contract this year? I'm sure they'll be able to fit you in. But another big piece of news this week was Mitchell Moses has knocked back the Tigers' offer for 5 years. Yeah, that's rough. They wanted him as a 7. They extended Adam Doueihi instead for another year. But he still hasn't signed with the Parramatta Eels. He wants a 5-year deal, reportedly. They're only willing to commit to a 4-year deal. If you're the Parramatta Eels, do you just say, yeah, look, we're going to commit to you as a halfback for 5 years?
Yeah, I don't see what their problem is. You've convinced him not to sign with the Tigers, who are offering him $1.4 million.
$1.4 million a year.
If I'm offered 1.4 for 5 years,
I do some disgusting things for $1.4 million.
As you should be.
Yeah.
But if you're the Parramatta Eels, what's the difference between 4 and 5? Yeah, the championship window going to close sooner.
And who else is there on the market? Like, are you blooding a young 7 to come up? Who else are you going to get?
I mean, how old's Mitch Moses?
He's in his 20s. I think he's pushing 28. Mitch Moses' age, can we back on that?
Say he's around 28 years old. 5 years takes him to about 33. That's the end of his career anyways.
Yeah.
So what are you saving yourself? One season where he's probably going to get re-signed for $600K?
They've re-signed Dylan Brown. I wonder if they've prioritised cap space for him and other players, but it's not looking good for the Parramatta Eels, who have lost a couple of players already this season.
Well, Paul Kent did come out and say that he hasn't signed yet, so don't write the Tigers off yet. So if you're a Tigers fan, you got a bit of hope still.
Now, a person that we like that opines regularly on rugby league, James Graham. Great Englishman, has his own podcast.
Great Bulldog player.
Former great Bulldog. He has his bit to say in the media. He's come out and absolutely sprayed some people at the Dragons organisation, the St George Dragons, because he thinks there's a snitch in the ranks. He thinks there's a snitch because there was a punch-on in Mudgee, at the Mudgee Hotel. Everyone's talked about it. Ravalawa and Musgrove got into a bit of a...
So they've named the players?
As men do, yeah, they've named the players. But a lot of people are saying this is a non-issue. It's boys having a little scrap. There was no police called. There was no harm done to anyone. I don't think the health staff really cared.
Yeah.
How did it get leaked to the media? He's come out and said, who's the snitch? Let's name the snitch. Why is there a snitch in the club?
What I don't like about this is let the boys play.
Yeah.
Let the boys, they had a game, they lost, it was a bit of a rough weekend. They've got the
They've
bye.
had a few beers as well.
They've got the bye round one. They know they're going to take it a bit easy for the next couple of weeks. If there's a bit of push and shove, who cares? I don't want to know why Danny Weidler and Buzz Rothwood really care that much.
How do you find the snitch at the Dragons? What do you do?
You got to do what they do in what's that?
The Departed?
The Departed. You got to put out a fake rumor.
Put out a fake.
Leaks
Well, that's
that
what I
rumour.
would say. If I'm the head coach at the Dragons organisation, or if I'm someone in the admin, I'm saying there's big talks of Ruan Sims going to be the next head coach after Hook gets sacked, and let's see which media picks that up, and whoever's leaked that out, you know who you're told, and then they just boot him out of the organisation.
Anthony Griffin could put out. Ben Hunt could be captain coach this year, and then see who puts it out.
See who puts it out.
Danny Weidler's sniffing around for something.
100%. Another big talking point of the week. The team lists are finally out. It's Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
How good?
Nico Hines, calf injury, will miss round 1 this week. I think that's a big loss for Cronulla. I would put him on the level of, if he's out for Cronulla, they don't win too many games. I'd put him on the same level as you put Latrell is for Souths, the same level as you put Tom Trbojevic for Manly. He's their leader, and he's the one that's going to win them games.
He's their X factor, but I don't think that if he misses games, they're not going to lose that game. The same way that if Latrell or Trbojevic miss games.
Yeah, but I don't see them playing finals without him.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't be making noise in the finals. They could definitely make the 8. They've still got a stacked team. Ronaldo, Mulatalo, and Katoa are probably the best winger combo in the comp. They got Jesse Ramian, great centre, just re-signed. Matt Moylan's a good serviceable half, and I think they got Trindle filling in, and he did an okay job last year.
Without him this week, do they beat Souths?
No. That's only because I love Latrell. Trell Mitt.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't think I think they'll struggle without him. But they do. They field a good squad, but I can't see him playing finals of footy without him. But another big talking point, and I know we're saying there's been a few big talking points all week,
Everything's a big talking point.
is Angus Crichton on medical leave. The Roosters have approached the NRL and said they're seeking salary cap reimbursement or disbursement exemption for him not being able to play. Andrew Abdo's come out and he's also said they're going to look into it and explore it as much as they can. Do you think it's fair if the Roosters, say he doesn't play a game for the Roosters all season, he's earning something like $650,000 a year. It could be like a physical injury, like, when someone medically retires, like an Anthony Watmough or Sam Burgess, they get the salary cap compensation.
It's tough because it's not a physical injury. And while, thoughts and prayers go out to Angus, hope he recovers well, it's because it's not a physical injury and the turnaround time for him to make his return is probably shorter than what a physical injury would be. So if they're anticipating he could come back at round 10 or even if it's round 20.
I think the Roosters are, they have the right to at least ask the NRL. It's not like I don't think they're being greedy about it. If they've put a lot of cap space.
750K.
He's on about 750,000. So they've put some cap space aside for him to play this season. He played well in the World Cup. They're thinking everything's going to go smoothly, and then he's not able to play.
You can't do it for this year, but maybe for next year if he doesn't play. Because what's the difference between him and Pappenhausen? What if Pappenhausen sits out the whole season because of his knee? What's the difference between those two players?
Yeah, but he sustained that while playing. This was completely external.
I mean,
this is completely external. It's like if someone has to medically retire almost.
But that's the thing. Unless he's going to retire, you can't exempt his salary from the cap. Unless he's put up and said, "I'm not playing for the rest of the year. I'm questionable to return at all." Then they could be like, you know what? Give him maybe 50% off. Give him half the contract back.
What about this story leading up to the Broncos-Panthers game this weekend? I love this one. Jarome Luai and Selwyn Cobbo going at it in the media this week.
You'll love to see it.
Selwyn Cobbo has gone on another podcast, hasn't gotten himself in trouble this time.
We love Cobbo on a podcast.
I'd love to get him on the podcast and say something disparaging about some players or coaches. But he's come out and said Jarome Luai is a grub. And that's a quote. He said that after Jarome Luai stood over him in State of Origin while he was knocked out. Jarome Luai's responded to that and saying, I didn't know he was knocked out. And it was a heat of the moment type thing. Everyone calls me a grub. I don't care. I'll see him in round 1.
I mean, it was Origin. Who's not getting G'd up when you see someone get bashed?
I think he has every right to stand over anyone. Who does, like, it's Origin. Your emotions are heightened. You're playing on the biggest stage. I'm pretty sure it was game 3. It was at Suncorp. Everyone was going nuts. The crowd was going nuts. He was knocked out in the first 2 minutes. I understand he was making his debut. His family was there.
He wasn't making his debut.
He wasn't making his
No, I
debut?
think he played the whole series.
Okay. But in saying that, he has every right to get heated up.
Who wouldn't get G'd up at Suncorp in a game 3?
But this is what fans want to see more. I don't want clubs policing players saying, oh, you can't say this and don't do that. Call other players out, make it more entertaining. Because
The best part about it is Luai's response. He's come out and said, you know what, yeah, I'm a grub, but I'll see him round 1. Let's hit it off in round 1.
now I want to tune in, in this Broncos Penrith match and see if there's any push and shove. See who's going to get the better of each other.
I thought Cobbo would be playing on the wing, so if he rushed in and clotheslined him,
shot on or
but he's
something.
playing at fullback, so you never know. Maybe after Luai makes a line break, Cobbo can go for a late shot. I'd love to see. I'm a big fan of both players, but I love the biff.
But we need more player rivalries. We already got Latrell and Manu. We love.
Everyone looks forward to when they play now.
Because they go at each other. There needs to be a bit more. Last year with Tavita Pangai Jr. and Tino, there was a little bit of a. Was he going to come out and say, I tried to get Tavita Pangai to say something back and forth? He was a bit nervous to say something.
And Luai's not shy from a bit of a niggle.
Yeah, so
he'll get in there and rub some dirt in Cobbo's face.
It'll be great to see.
Who are you taking head to head?
Out of the two?
If they go face to face.
In a punch on?
I think he's a bigger boy.
You got to get. He's about 6 foot something.
Yeah, but
probably got about 20 kegs
niggling
on him.
the field. I mean, Luai doesn't have Kikia this year next to him.
He's got Luke Garner.
He's got Luke Garner, who's a big white boy instead, and I'm sure he'll be his bodyguard on that left
Maybe
side.
3/4 of the size of kick out.
Yeah, but I think he can do a job. Underrated Luke Garner in the second
Maybe he's got
row.
to put Fisher Harris to the left side prop.
But I'll be looking forward to that. Another big omission from the teams. Not a big. Everyone knew he wasn't going to be ready to go round 1, but Ryan Pappenhausen.
Yeah,
Bellamy's come out and advised that he hasn't even started running yet, and it's likely he'll be back towards round 10 almost. Pappenhausen himself said he's not going to be back until at least past round 8.
Well, if Bellamy's come out and said he hasn't even started running yet, now I've never done my ACL or a significant leg injury, but if you're not running 5-6 months into an injury, you've got another 6 months of recovery to go. So what's round 10? Is that maybe 3 months away, 4 months away?
I'm also even worried, will Pappenhausen be the same? Will he have that turn of pace where he scored that grand final try? Will he always have in the back of his mind, mate, if I go and collide with someone, my knee could shatter into 11 pieces?
I feel like
I don't think I could run again.
He'd be the type of player, similar to, how they in the NBA, they go, if you do your Achilles, you're never coming back. Happened to Kobe, happened to, I think, Dominic Wilkins, all these other players. Kevin Durant did it.
KD's
modern
Achilles.
technology, modern recovery, he'll be fine.
He did go over to the States.
He went over to the States as well with Tommy Turbo. Maybe they've worked their magic. We've seen what Latrell was like when he came back from the States.
The States just got,
But
extra
I've
juice.
seen his vlogs to recovery on TikTok, Pappenhausen. I follow him. It's an entertaining watch. He knows what he's doing. But he's got poles for legs right now. Like, they are flat out sticks. There's no... I don't know if it's gotten any better. It was the last TikTok I watched. But they're thin. And I feel like they're brittle, ready to be broken again if he runs on a rugby league field.
He already had extremely small legs. It wasn't like he was packing a lot of... It wasn't Saquon Barkley out there on the field. Mm-hmm. So add that to an injury where you're not moving your leg for at least 4 or 5 months, you're going to lose all your weight and muscle that was already there.
Yeah.
So I reckon it's probably weighing at about 3 kilos his legs.
Speaking of people coming back from injury, Tom Trbojevic back for round 1. No one thought he was going to make it back for round 1. He had an injury.
Well, then when they put out that he did his hamstring, in training,
pre-season.
you thought, okay, there goes 6 weeks.
Yeah, he didn't slip in the shower. He wasn't running past the Ivanhoe Hotel. He did this at training. Went to the United States, saw the same doctor that Latrell saw. Latrell came back last year, didn't miss a game when he came back from the United States.
Played awesome.
Played unbelievably. Almost, took South deep, I would say.
He was the main reason for their finals run.
Will Trbojevic be the same this year? I guess we don't know. But I don't think Manly will be the same without him. Do you load management him this year? Do you put him, rest him for games against the Dragons or Newcastle?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, if he plays every game, he probably won't last till round 9. That's just being honest. That's just on a fresh hamstring injury. You got to bring him back into it slowly.
He's probably changed his running style. The more games he plays, the better. He needs to get games under the belt. He hasn't played enough games over the last
I'll
2
pitch
years.
it to you. Will he miss a game before round 9? Over, under, round 9, maybe 8.5? Will he miss a game before then?
No, I back the United States recovery.
He'll play every single game till round 8.
Well, if they're confident enough to put him fresh for round 1,
What's their
I
schedule?
think so.
What's their schedule?
Yeah, look it up.
If they're versing a Newcastle, if they're versing a...
No, I wouldn't rest him. He needs games under the belt, mate. You need your match fitness. You can do all the preseason training you want.
Here we go.
Go.
So we've got I've got it up here.
Bulldogs then the bye.
Yep.
Para, you've got to play that game. Souths, okay, I'll play that one. Newcastle round 5 at Glen Willow Oval. I don't know where that is.
You say you'd rest him for that.
Give him a bit of
And
rest.
put Ruben
Garrett can fill in.
No,
Newcastle.
so that's where we differ. I think Seabold's going to say, we need you to be playing games.
And
He
he's
used to be playing
He's
games.
probably under the pump as
And
well.
why wouldn't you want to play those games where there's not too much on the line? You're versing a club like Newcastle, don't have a lot of star players. You should be a walk in the park for you.
I'm saying his hamstring's going to get real tight, and nothing's better for a hamstring than rest.
I guess he'll play it by ear. Another player out of Penrith that is leaving. They can't seem to hold players at the moment. A lot of clubs trying to raid them. Stephen Crichton signed with the Bulldogs for 2024. Mate, we can't be more pleased with that signing. Quality player. Played in grand finals. We love to see that.
Origin.
But he came out and said he didn't leave Penrith for the money, and it wasn't for the position he was playing either. So then my question is, why did you leave Penrith then? What was the actual reason?
I don't get this. He said he wants to come out, wants to clear the air on why he signed with the Bulldogs. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to say maybe he hates Nathan Cleary or something. Mm-hmm. He's come out and said, it's not for the money. Bulldogs aren't paying me that much more. Okay, then, fine. And it wasn't because of the position, because they're going to let me play fullback. It's like, okay,
So
then.
he was happy in the centres.
Yeah. But he's happy he's cleared it up. It's like, well...
You didn't really clear anything
You've
up.
made it
Why
more,
did you leave?
You've made it all the more confusing.
I'm more confused. Why you haven't? Definitely money has to be a...
Position and money.
I'm not going to say, he's money hungry, but it's like, you've won your comps. He's won 2 comps. I'm happy to go and play wherever for any amount of money now. I'll play at the Dolphins.
I personally wasn't lucky enough to play in the NRL, and I wasn't lucky enough to win a grand
But
final.
after you win 1 comp, that's it.
If I won a grand final, I'm taking the biggest paycheck possible.
Yeah, I'm doing the Aaron Woods model. I'll play for anyone and everybody.
Did he win a comp?
I don't think he's ever won a comp, but whoever takes him, he'll gladly go.
Yeah, and he's on the
play.
biggest signing bonus that he can possibly get.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
as he should be as a first grade player.
Well, each week we're going to do a top 5. We're calling this the Kairouz hierarchy.
I love it. Great
Okay.
name.
Each week we're going to think of a list to do for the top 5. This week's top 5 signings of 2023. So players that have
Off-season signings.
moved from one club to another and will be playing for the club in 2023. I'm going to start us off with number 5, Reece Walsh. Do you have Reece Walsh in your top 5? I'm going to say Reece Walsh in your top 5.
I like Reece Walsh back to the Broncos. I think, they kind of struggled last year with that spark out the back. Tamara Martin was a serviceable fullback, but he just wasn't an X factor. They needed something to just, add that little extra finesse to their team.
Number 4, Viliami Kikau to the Bulldogs from Penrith. This just adds all the more attack they need on that left side. They apart from having Burton and Fox last year, Bulldogs didn't have much. Now you got, an option in Kikau outside of Matt Burton. That's an unbelievable option.
And we were at the season launch.
Yeah.
We've spoken to Cameron Serraldo. Great guy.
Unbelievable human being.
And what they've said about Kikau is, yes, he's a big human being, but he adds a lot as a leader. He's bringing the winning ways from Penrith into Canterbury. He's changing the club. He's changing the culture. That's why you want him in your top 5.
We saw him at the Shoe Grab. They just extended their partnership with Shoe Grab as a main sponsor. Said hello. We had a chat about the pre-season. Gave us a time of day. Doesn't need to. We're at the season launch. We're going to get some content there. We're just happy to be there. See the players that are
We're
there.
Bulldogs fans.
All of a sudden, someone taps us on the shoulder after he had a great speech on stage, and he just says, "Boys, how you doing?" It's Cameron Serraldo. I didn't really know what to say to him. I was just happy that he came and said hello to us. I just said, "Mate, great speech up there.
Yeah,
Thanks for that. Thanks for saying hello."
I trust you with the vision for the club.
Yeah. Mate, in Cam we trust. Number 3, I'm going to go with Brandon Smith.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
I think Brandon Smith is a bargain for the Roosters. Going to add a lot of value to them. Imagine him, Victor Radley playing in the middle.
He could very easily be the best signing of the year.
100%.
Very easily.
He'll probably most likely play 80 minutes.
Every time he's played hooker for New Zealand, he's been one of the best players on the field. So if he's doing that consistently 26 rounds of the year, he could easily be the best signing.
It'll be the first time he'll be playing possibly 80 minutes at hooker, but he can transition. If players go down, I know Roosters have had a depth problem the last few years. If someone goes down, he can slot into a lock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a great signing.
He can play off the bench if need be.
I don't know how you don't have him at number 1, but who's 1 and 2?
Well, number 2, again, very biased here, Reid Marnie
That's not bias.
for the Bulldogs.
That's not bias.
A quality hooker that I don't think gets enough respect that he deserves. Was in the talks to play Queensland Origin some years ago.
Yeah.
Can be called up when someone goes down.
I mean, I don't know how much money he's been signed for, but Para is stupid for not keeping him.
Well,
I mean, yeah, you get
they
Josh
got their hands
Hodgson.
full with Mitch Moses and Dylan
Still,
Brown.
you got to secure your spine. That's why the Bulldogs. You had Matt Burton. Now you get a quality 9 in Reid Marnie. I think fullback, we've got that Hayes Parham playing this week. We'll see how he goes. But I still think we need a great fullback.
Crichton coming in 24.
Oh, there you go, Stephen Crichton.
They're building the spine. But I just like Reid Marnie as a player. He's he makes his tackles in the middle. It's a great service out of dummy half. Rarely misses tackles. I think probably our second coming of like a Michael Ennis at the Dogs.
It's reported he's only on $600K a year as well, which is a steal.
600,000.
Yeah, say power up, just cough it up.
That's Gus Whelan and Dylan. I'm surprised he didn't bloody go to the Roosters if he was willing to take that money.
They got Brandon Smith.
But number one, I think this is unequivocal and probably at the top of everyone's list. Appy Kairouz to the West Tigers. Probably the best hooker in the comp last season. Was one of the main reasons why Penrith was so strong up the middle. For the West Tigers to be getting someone like him in their rebuild, probably their best signing in years.
Yeah, and it makes you think, again, Penrith, yes, you've won 2 in a row, but he was probably one of the key pieces of that. Mitch Kenny's got big shoes to fill. And the Tigers, I think this might catapult them to making the 8.
8 this year? You're dreaming.
On the back of Kairouz, you can probably give a short ball on the line, get the ruck going.
He's good, but he's not that good. They don't have enough troops. But what I will say is, what I'm more excited about, with Appy Kairouz being there, is the Twal one. Twal to go over for his first try now that they got a quality hooker.
Has he never scored?
He's not scored a try all year. Shout out to, what's his name? The NRL Roast, who put out a petition that we storm Leichhardt Oval if Twal crosses over for his first try ever. Like we did Buddy 1000. I don't know if we're allowed yet, but the petition's out there. You can go to change.org to sign it. But
he's at 102 games as well.
He's at 102 games. He's never scored a try. If it happens at Leichhardt, we'll be there at every game at Leichhardt this year to storm the Oval if he goes over. Shout out to Alex Twal.
I know he's been injured, but isn't it a rule among NRL clubs that if you don't score during the season, you've got to newly run?
Yeah, probably done a few.
He's done a few of them?
He's had 6. He's had 6
Debuted
seasons.
in 2017, yeah.
Yeah,
100 games is about 5 seasons.
I think this year is the year that Twal goes over because of Appy Kairouz and we'll be there to storm the field.
I think his previous hookers had a bit of a crush on him and wanted to see him naked run around the oval.
I don't think that. He's just been unlucky. Obviously, last year he lost a lot of games due to injury and the concussion. He just hasn't gone over. There's people that never score tries. I think he's bound to get one now that Appy Kairouz there. But let's look at the week ahead, starting with Thursday night's game.
We're giving our picks?
We're going to give our picks out each week. Well, it's not necessarily our picks. I'm going to give my picks, but we like to call out our father, Richard Kairouz. He gives out a pick each week, then turns his back on him. We've got his picks down for every single week. He'll soon be on the show to address this. But we're also going to be going back and forth each week.
We'll keep a tally.
A tally of our tips. They'll be across our social media. Whoever wins in our tipping between the brothers is going to have a full body wax session like the 40-year-old version. It will be vlogged and put to our YouTube.
See, where I say this is unfair,
What?
my chest is about 3 to 4x.
You're hairier than me, but it's a full body wax. I won't shave all year.
Okay.
I won't do
That's
any
fair.
laser all year.
Oh, that's fair.
And whoever loses in tips will get waxed.
Okay.
Full body 40-year-old virgin waxed.
I'll agree to that.
Thursday night's game, Parramatta Eels versus the Melbourne Storm. It's at CommBank Stadium. Parramatta Eels, a lot of people missing from their
I think
team.
it's like 11 from their grand final team.
Are not playing. I think they've got Bryce Cartwright in there. Mitchell Moses is playing. Dylan Brown's playing. But there is the stat that Melbourne have not lost a season opener.
Since 2001.
Like, that's huge. So I'm going to go with maths, like we usually do. And I'm going to go Melbourne Storm winning this game.
I think I'll bring up Random Stats Guy on Instagram.
Shout out to Random Stats Guy. He's got some quality stats.
He's put up that they've got 100% winning percentage in
Under
round
Craig
ones.
Bellamy.
But Parramatta are at number 2 at 69%.
Could this be the year that Melbourne Storm lose their first round? I don't think it is. With the amount of people that are out for Para Eels, like Jay, who do they got out? They've got a lot of debutants.
Yeah, they've got Bryce Cartwright starting in the back row with Matt Dury, Jermaine Hopwood, and then they've got 3 debutants on the bench.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a rough day.
Eels have the 4th best.
4th best.
Opening, that's 63%.
Yeah. So I think that's unequivocal. We'll take Melbourne there. The Warriors
I'm
versus
going
Newcastle.
Melbourne. I'll take Melbourne.
Yeah, we're taking Melbourne. Warriors versus Newcastle in New Zealand. This is a 6 o'clock game for a reason. This is why they invented the 6 o'clock game. We're both, I think, going to go the New Zealand Warriors here.
I'm not going to go to New Zealand.
Okay.
I'm going stats again. Newcastle, 69% of their round ones since a 16-team comp. They've won. Warriors, They're in the bottom 5 at 38%. They don't win round 1. They get off to a bad start. It's a problem with the Warriors, so I'll take Newcastle.
I don't know. Round 1, it's at Sky Stadium. They're, in front of their home crowd. Newcastle, their side just doesn't do it for
I
me.
think Jaden just read out the team list for Newcastle.
Yeah.
They've got a surprisingly
Okay,
good pack.
apart from Jackson Hastings and Kalen Ponga playing 6 and 7, surprisingly good pack, good hooker in Brayley. But I just think around the park they're going to struggle this year. They're favourites to be bottom of the table.
Anyway, who's Dad taken?
Dad is taking the New Zealand Warriors.
What do you think of Ponga at 6?
Ponga at 6, I think he needs to touch the ball more. I think he's a liability in defending in the line all the time.
I don't like it because the fullback is the more premium position in the modern NRL. Fullbacks are more important than 5'8", so you should keep him at fullback.
But otherwise, who would partner Jackson Hastings at 7?
Toby Sexton. I don't know, find another half.
Kurt Mann.
Kurt Mann, he can play.
I'm just saying, they need some spark. They need a change. Next up, we got the Penrith Panthers versus the Broncos. Again, Walsh out, so they got Cobbo starting at fullback. Penrith Panthers, apart from the players that had left to, kick out going to the Bulldogs, you got, Api Coruscant gone. They're still fielding a very strong team.
I'll take Penrith here.
Yeah.
The line's -13. I don't know if they'll cover the -13, but I'll take them head to head.
It's at Bluebet Stadium as well. I'll be taking the Penrith Panthers. Richard's pick, Penrith as well. Yeah. So like father, like sons here. Manly versus the Bulldogs, our mighty Bulldogs. This is a tough one for me because I want to be tipping the Bulldogs the majority of the year. But we've just seen the team list, Jay. A lot of omissions. Luke Thompson, ankle injury at training.
Pangai Jr.
Tavita Pangai Jr. not playing. So they're not fielding the strongest forward pack. They got Farmanu Brown playing at lock.
They got bashed in the warm-up as well, so it's not looking... I'd give them a couple of weeks to get into the rhythm of the new kind of system.
I don't think they're going to get bashed. I just like Manly's team. Tommy Turbo playing at fullback.
Youngster Alamotti getting a debut for the Bulldogs.
Paul Alamotti, where's he playing?
In the centres.
Playing in the
with
centres.
Avarillo.
So look, it's going to be good. It's going to be a gauge.
I'll take Manly in a close one.
Yeah, we'll get a gauge of where the Bulldogs are at, but I'm also going to take Manly here. Richard's got Manly 13 plus.
Okay,
he used to play there. I don't know why he's doing that. He still lives in Belmore. Cowboys versus the Raiders.
Cowboys easily. Xavier Savage, broken jaw.
Yeah.
Cowboys are a stronger team. It's in North Queensland. You take the Cowboys.
Coming off the back of last year, that's an easy pick. Cowboys. Sharks versus the Rabbitohs. Again, no Nico Hines.
Nico Hines not playing, and even if he was playing, I'm taking the Rabbitohs because Trell Mitts are going to be anytime try scorer, couple try assists, and take the W.
Again, everyone agreement here. Rabbitohs. Dolphins' first game in the NRL against the Roosters, who are tipped to win the comp this year.
Roosters do have some players out as well.
Manu's
Manu's
out.
not playing, which is a big loss, but you got to go with the Roosters here. Brandon Smith's debut. I don't think everyone's tipped Redcliffe to get the spoon. I don't think they'll get the spoon, but I don't think they'll win round 1.
Again, all in agreement. The Roosters, the Tigers, or the Titans.
Is that
Leichhardt Oval, round 1.
Leichhardt Oval, Api Coruscant playing, Papali'i. I'm taking the Tigers.
I just think this is one of those round 1 games that can go either way.
Yeah,
There's probably a few that are going to be upset. You can never bet in round 1. You don't know what's going to happen. But I think it can go either way. I think the Tigers will surprise some people, with their signings. Bateman in there as well, playing.
Bateman's out for the week.
Bateman's not playing this week. You got Papali'i.
I think Adam Dewey just re-signed, should have a good game.
Captain Coruscant.
I'd like to see Luke Brooks try and get a good start to the season.
Nofaluma's back, he's a good winger.
Yeah, from Melbourne last year.
Yeah.
A little stint in Melbourne. I'll take the Tigers this week, but I will say the game can go either way.
So we only differ on one?
We're only differing on one. Dragons, I don't know how they're going to go up against the bye. They need to find the rat first. But
it'll be a tough 2 points for them, but they'll earn it.
Now, our long shots for the season. We're going to have a long shot each week. Nick, your long shot for the season?
I'm taking the Sharks for the minor premiers. They're paying $13 across most betting platforms.
Yeah.
But $13, it's great value. You got to really look at it. Through that origin period, they're not going to lose any players. Nico Hines didn't get selected for the origin last year, probably won't get selected again, just because of the depth at the position. Dale Finucane's not getting selected. So if they can win all those games on top of being an already strong team, I can see them being minor premiers. $13, it's a good value bet.
My long shot for the year is going to be Bulldogs to make the top 8. They're paying about $2.10, right?
Okay.
Bulldogs to make the top 8 into the Newcastle Knights wooden spoon. Okay, and yeah, there's no market on this, but I do say...
It'll be about $10 multi.
It'll be around the $10 mark. But I think first coach to be sacked is Dragons coach.
Anthony Griffin.
Anthony Griffin, hooked. If they go the way that they were going last year, who's their best signing been? Ben Murdoch-Masila? Right? Who have they signed? They've had a lot of people being ruled out over some preseason dramas. right? I just don't think they're in a position,
Yeah, no.
apart
I
from
think-
Ben Hunt, who is literally their best player and their only shining light. They have nothing going for him. I don't think they'll get the spoon, but I think he's the first coach to be sacked. I reckon he lasts about 8 rounds.
I don't like to bet on people's jobs, but if there was a market for him to be the first coach sacked, I'd put my house on it.
Yeah, there you go. Now, try score a multi this week. Okay, later in the week, we're going to opine on what our best bet is.
We'll give out our best bets in maybe a couple
But
of days.
I'd like to say, with everything being said, team list finally being out, the try scorers I'm picking this week, Brandon Smith to score his first try for the Sydney Roosters, Ruben Garrick to score for Manly against the Bulldogs, Tuilagi to score for the Cowboys, and Alex Johnston to cross over for one of many tries this season for the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
I like that. I'd even add Trebojevic. I think
Turbo can
he'd
go
be like
well.
Brett Stewart, Prince of Brookvale. He's got to score at Brookie. And then, if you're probably going to go with maybe Jeremiah Nanai, he scored 17 last year. I could see him scoring a bunch again this year.
Well, it's going to be a big weekend of footy. We can't wait for the season to kick off.
Week 1's finally here.
Week 1's finally here. Looking at
Other
what
sports?
else is on the weekend, big return in the UFC. John Jones up against Cyril Gane.
3, 4. How long's it been out? 3 years? 4 years?
3 years, obviously he can't control himself
Out of the
outside of the octagon because he can't. His piss tests always come back for performance-enhancing drugs.
And he wasn't getting paid enough.
But the UFC desperately need John Jones back. They haven't had a star to build around. Conor McGregor's been out for some time. A lot of people have been pulling out of fights. The biggest thing...
Khabib retired.
Khabib retired. Alexander Volkanovski was a big draw in Australia, but even that card was really lackluster.
Yeah.
Apart
Besides
from
the
him in the
main
main
event,
event.
Francis Ngannou's gone as
Francis
well.
Ngannou, again, he was championing for better pay for fighters, healthcare for fighters. So they need a big star to piggyback off. John Jones is going to be this person. This is going to be his warm-up fight back into the UFC.
What do you mean warm-up? It's a championship fight. This is 100 miles an hour. He's got baptism of fire.
Yeah, I know he'll probably come out the better of it. And like I said, the UFC desperately need this. A thing that's been going across social media is, what song is he going to come out to?
Superhero.
They've got his classic song that he's come out to many a times. The champ is here. He's no longer the champ. Right? We came out to Daniel Cormier here. So I don't think he'll be coming out to that. Everyone's been saying he's got to walk out to Superhero.
With the...
Metro Boomin future song,
But
with
with
that
the-
commentary in the back.
What's the guy's name from...
that show?
Yeah.
I got no
The
idea.
Boys, it's from The Boys.
Yeah.
It's Homestar, I forget his name.
But he's stupid not to do it. It's become an internet meme at this point. He's got to do it. We're looking forward to the UFC this week.
I don't know if you've seen the video of John Jones training.
Oh, he's huge.
He's put on about 400 kilos.
He's no longer John Bones Jones. He's John Big Bones Jones.
Yeah, I've seen the name been passing around.
John Performance Enhanced Bones Jones.
John Meat Jones, no
'Cause
longer Bones.
He's jacked. He's absolutely jacked. But he's gone up in a weight class.
Yeah, no, he's moved to heavyweight.
Yeah, so I mean, it's warranted. I'm sure he's.
But
not taking anything.
he still looks shredded.
I'm just saying, this is his third chance. Dana White's giving him chance upon chance. If he fails a drug test after this, that just call it a day.
Nah, doesn't matter. Be who you can afford to be.
No, that's enough. That's enough, John. We're looking forward to a big fight on Saturday, or is it Sunday for us, Australian time?
Sunday.
It'll be our Sunday. But that wraps us up for prime time this week. Tune into the games this week and tune into us every Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be putting these out. But thank you for your time.
Cheers.